Welcome, everyone, and it's lovely to be here with all of you for our next topic, which is around strengthening social and emotional learning quotient. And two amazing leaders joining us here to share their experience, their stories, and their thoughts around the topic. So, again, once again, welcome Akshay and welcome Swati for the session today.
Thank you so much. Great to be here with you all.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
All right, so let's get started. And on the topic, Akshay, I think I have a question for you. Given the venture around Hero Wired, you started it with the vision of solving the employability paradox that our country is currently facing. And if you see, a large part of that goes back to our academia, where most of our curriculum, it does not include softer aspects like emotional intelligence, social capital that we are talking about today. So, what advice would you have for our young graduates from different streams on how they can hone the skill as they enter the job market?
Sure, that's a great question. But I think there are two parts. One is how we got here, and the second is the way forward. If I take a step back, if you look at traditionally, when you had the Gurukul system, the guru was responsible for your upbringing, physical, emotional, the skills you were learning, which was a holistic learning. But after that, when the British system of education came, which standardized everything, what so the approach became more on just basic hard skills. The focus on IQ, EQ, all of that was taken away. Now, while that worked at a certain period of time, today I think it's extremely important because more and more skills, you have hard skills or technical skills, but if you cannot know how to apply them, cannot deal with failure, cannot even deal with success, or cannot work with one another, it becomes very challenging. You have AI, ML, you have a fair amount of automation in today's day and age. When you have COVID, there's lots of change happening, and but to deal with this kind of change, and the pace of change is only expected to accelerate further. So it becomes even more important for people to have a very strong grounding in IQ and EQ, and especially EQ, because how do you deal with change? That's a fundamental question.
So
So
true.
I think it's imperative we start of dealing with this right from junior school onwards.
Yeah, and I think actually the last year has been our best experience in helping understand how the softer skills, something like EQ, is so very important. But thank you for sharing your thoughts and taking us back to our origin of the education system. Swati, I'll same thing for you. I know you went to London School of Economics, studied mathematics. So, on a personal note, how did you prepare your own self around building your emotional and social capital as you started into the workspace? So, would love to hear your thoughts.
That's an interesting question because I've never thought of it like that. But I feel that because I was somewhere conscious about this, I think that helped me actually do well. And I'll start from the very beginning because, when I was in school, just the fact that I used to participate in extracurricular activities, and I would say this to others as well. Apart from only studying and excelling in studies, if you are debating, if you are doing sports, you are actually building a lot of that emotional capability because all these situations teach you something different and you are interacting with people which puts you in that position of being a winner or a loser or being tactful, negotiating. You learn all of that, right? And I think after that my work experiences really contributed to that. So my first job ever was basically as a sales assistant, as an internship selling Standard Chartered credit cards, right? And at that time, today I know I get those calls and I'm always hanging up, but then thankfully some people did hang up on me, so I learned through all that. And coming into college as well, it is in India. I especially feel that in the education system very often we have people who are toppers but they don't really work enough on their communication skills, and that is something that stops them from growing in their professional field. So for me, it was always about developing this social side, because that actually really helped me in business. It helped me at Goldman Sachs in London when I was confident enough to talk to MDs and manage the client engagements for CEO of Goldman Europe, being like a 4-year-old WorkX person. So it was a lot of all of this. And then coming into entrepreneurship here as well, when we moved to India, I did not know anyone in the startup ecosystem, right? So I would go sometimes to events, I would participate, I would write to journalists on my own from my LinkedIn and build those relationships. So I mean, it's everything. I feel being intelligent and having a knack for numbers gets you so far, but then if you don't have all this, there are ceilings that come in, invisible ceilings that come in everywhere.
I love that, Swati. And being in the learning and development space, that's something I see every day, that hard skills will definitely get you there. But if you are looking for growth, there are these softer skills. And love what you shared, that don't just focus on the hard skills. Simple things like debating, like you mentioned, or sports that can teach team building or camaraderie is so important. So absolutely love that. So staying with you, Swati, again, I've heard you say in many forums and even articles that culture is the differentiator. And you say how it will drive revenue and happiness, right? So what do you look for in the right talent to fit this culture that you speak of at Cash Karo?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the culture at Cash Karo is something that I am really, really proud of, because I feel it's something that everyone has contributed a lot to. Not only the leadership team, not only HR team, but every individual who's there. And, when we hire people, we look for, of course, we look for professional qualifications with respect to that job. But I am personally looking for somebody who, number one, displays the ability to take ownership, that they completely understand that this is going to be my domain and I'm not going to need supervision, I'm not going to need someone chasing after me, it's my job, I'll get it done, I take complete ownership for it, right? And if it is a senior role, then accountability as well, because there are the leaders in our team who do well are those where we don't need to get in at all, right? They're completely accountable, owning it. But ownership is something that actually runs in at every level in the organization. It's important. It's not just for the leader. Everybody, even if I'm a junior analyst and I've just joined, I can display ownership by making sure that my work is done always on time, correctly. Nobody needs to check it. So we look for all of that. But some things, and of course other things like hustle and self-motivated, all of that. But something that's really important to me is to find people who have positive energy and people who bring positive energy with them. I feel there are people who are inherently positive and others who are not. I wouldn't say they're negative, but they're not positive in that sense, because I truly feel that each one of us, and especially the leaders, are basically people who are like charged batteries, right? When you come in the morning, you find a way to charge yourself so that you can pass on that to somebody else. If you are going to show up as a discharged battery every day, you have nothing to give to others, right? So that's why I want people who understand the importance of that, who are able to work on themselves in that sense, and then really come out and motivate others, and and then spread that positive vibe, because I really doubt we can achieve any numbers if everybody feels like today is just the worst day ever. you know
Absolutely. I think leaders, especially how they have the ripple effect of their energy, can really make or break the culture. So thanks, Swati. And Akshay, on the same point, you prepare talent for the job market, but you also hire for your organization. So what do you look for top talent when hiring?
What we do, whether at Hero Wired or even at the university, a person goes through multiple rounds. No matter how senior or junior the person is, the process remains the same. It doesn't matter whether you're hiring somebody at a executive level or at a junior level. Each person goes through 5 or 6 rounds, and the process we follow is the first to the HR round, then is the internal department which raised the requisition. After that, the subject matter round. Then we have a external psychologist who's trying to what is the motivation of each person. After that, I interview every person, and then we roll the offer out. And it's a very long process, and we hear that very often. You're hiring somebody so junior. Why do you have to do 5 interviews or 6 interviews? Doesn't it slow down the process? Why should somebody, you're not a Google or Google or a Apple where somebody's saying, I'm okay doing 6 interviews. But for us, we are very clear. If somebody wants to work with us, that is our process. And very often you will find out person could be great from a subject matter point of view, but when it comes from a personality, what is driving him or her? Can they deal with failure? Are they self-motivated? Some of the things Swati also mentioned. Is it even a cultural fit? And we've seen cases where you may have the best talent available, but just not the best talent for you. So we follow a very rigorous process, and we are not going to move away from that.
Love your conviction. Yes, Swati.
That we do the same. So we have these rounds and we have assignment, and in the end, the founder round also. And sometimes HR tries to hint to us saying, your process is really long. That's why it's taking time to close. But I'm like, you can't change it because, we have, if you look around in the organization, people who are doing well are those that actually enthusiastically, participated in all those rounds and displayed that amount of commitment because, getting the job is only one part of it. How will you excel in it and continue to contribute more, if you're not willing to put in that effort? So I completely agree with Akshay, the importance of having these, steps to hiring. And I think more companies should do it actually.
Yeah, and if you're out there listening to our leaders, I think there are some really good takeaways. While the process might be long, Akshay, as you said, but it's very thorough, and you're actually screening for very, very important things like culture fit, right? Like you said. So, and I loved the conviction in both of you on, no, this is right for us to get the right talent into the organization. So amazing. Again, if you're hearing the leaders here today, questions would be coming to your mind. So keep those questions coming in so that we are able to answer that at the end of the session. And there are several other sessions lined up, all focused on the future skills that we are talking about here today. So stay tuned for all of those sessions. So coming back, I think this is more to both of you, and something that working with leaders, I also often hear is finding the right balance between driving business results while managing team emotions, motivation, engagement. As leaders, how do you strike that balance? So anyone, if you want to start.
I don't think there is a balance in this. I think you have to, it's a very clear. If your team is not motivated or engaged, results are not going to happen, going to come. They may come in the short run. You can whip people so much. You can force people only that much. But in the long run, if you want to build a long-term sustainable business, it is culture which is going to carry you there. And it is not to say it is either or.
Yeah, absolutely. It's both, like it's and like you said, it's not either or. What would you add, Swati, on balancing or managing, like how Akshay said, engagement, emotions with driving winning results?
I think, so I'll give you an example. Like, right, we've been working from home for 15 months now, right, as a team Cash Karo, and we are 230 people now. So for the first couple of months, we were like, messaging, connecting, and we were thinking, chalo, fatafat, we will get back to office, this will be over. But then, after 2 months, I was like, it's not working. We're not connecting at all because we meet on these scheduled calls and everyone is a rush and, there's hardly any celebration. There used to be a lot of celebration at Kashkar office. So I started something called the CK Morning Show at 9:30 every day. And we said that, okay, 9:30 we used to reach office, right? So now 9:30 everybody logs in. We have the first 30 minutes or so when we celebrate work anniversaries, birthdays. I used to host the show and have one person as a guest. So it would be a new joinee, it could be a leader, it could be somebody from the sales team on the field, it could be absolutely anyone, it could be an intern, and we would just talk to them and get to know them. So now we've changed it such that different people of the team are even hosting the show every day because it's evolved now. So there's a host and there's a guest every day. So when we do that, those first 30 minutes, a lot of people say that, we just love connecting in the morning because it gives us a start to the day. It gives us engagement. It gives us, people feel so good because when you're on the hot seat, you feel like, and people have said this to me that when I come to CK Morning Show, I feel like I'm so special because I sound like a guest today. So it kind of gives them that positivity to start the day. And we praise people. There are awards, there's everything. So, the first 25 minutes of your day, 30 minutes is such a positive start. And then after that, we say, okay, let's talk about numbers. How did we do yesterday, right? So we talk about the numbers, then we go through each team and they give their business update. And I think what I've seen here is that the balance is being struck because we are giving time to both things. So because we are starting off on that, we are doing the celebration, motivation, because I think appreciation, gratitude, it all goes a long way and you have to make time for it. So this is how we are making time. Then after that, when we talk about the results, everybody is contributing and active because, we are doing both. So if we were doing only this, then there would be no balance. But this way there is a balance, and I feel it's working in that sense.
CK Morning Show. So that sounds interesting. I'm going to go and look that one up, Swati. But one follow-up question. I know there are a lot of leaders who are here today. Practice like this, how hard or difficult was it to keep it sustainable? You said 15 months. So any advice how to keep it sustainable and going?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard. I wouldn't say that, working from home for 15 months is easy. And that also to have a culture that thrives through that. It's hard. There have been days so when I started off every day, I started off writing a morning, message to the team. And I had to think every day, what message should I write? Because it has to go out at 9:30 every day. My mom will be like, have breakfast, do this, do that. I'll be like, no, 9:30 is like sacrosanct, right? And then when the CK Morning Show started, again, every morning, like I have made my routine a 6 a.m. so that I've done my yoga and I'm ready and showered and sitting like this at 9:30 to welcome everybody, right? It doesn't, when you do it day in, day out, it takes a lot from you because, it is effort. And then after that, every day, what to share in the morning also you have to think about, right? So It's not easy, but I say that it's completely worth it. It's completely worth it. I would do it all over again and I would do more if I can. Because I think that the way the team has bonded because of it and the way they don't feel disconnected with each other, even though they've not met for such a long time, it's only been because of this. So I have had people on my Instagram who see the stories say that, we've also started a version of our own. Some do it weekly, some do it daily, some do some other thing. And it's working. And some people don't do it because some people tell me, oh, I can't be showered like you and all ready at 9:30 a.m. every day. I cannot do it. So then you can find your own challenges in it. But then I can only tell you that there are benefits and you should try it.
Thanks, Swati. I heard saying that, build it in your day in however way it works for you, makes it easy and sustainable. So thank you for sharing that. I think, Akshay, question for you around same like building emotional intelligence and emotions is you're a successful entrepreneur, and in today's high-paced world, I think through meetings, working from home, I'm sure you'll have your triggers. So how do you manage your emotions as a leader as you go through your day?
I think that's a great question, and you need to have an outlet of emotions. Otherwise, it's tough. I mean, to put it bluntly, managing work, COVID, there's so much uncertainty, keeping everybody's morale up, and it's not easy at all. So, at least for me, I've been using tennis, and I love playing tennis. That 1 hour, 4 times a week is sacrosanct. So you have to find an outlet to blow off the steam. Otherwise, things will just keep adding up and just keep, bottling inside.
Thanks, Akshay. I think firstly is the vulnerability and acknowledgement. What you say is that we all have that, right? So figure out a way what works for you, and looks like it is tennis for you to blow out that steam. So I think coming over to Swati, what is your hack, or what do you do to manage your emotions and triggers at work?
How to manage emotions and trigger at work? Well, for me, it's all about having a good morning, to be honest, to start with. So that's why the meditation I do in the morning, I do pranayama, I do yoga. So I have a 1.5 hour routine in the morning. And if I have done that, then I know that chances are I will sail through the day fine, and I will be able to manage ups and downs that come. Sometimes, yes, being human, I mean, sometimes you end up saying something which you don't want to, and you feel bad about, and then I actually really do not like it. If I've done something like that, I just write a message to someone and apologize, no matter who they are. Yeah, and I just get it out of my system like that. I'll be like, I'm so sorry, I did not mean this, but this is what I actually meant, and I hope you appreciate where I'm coming from. And then, I mean, I'm not saying I do this every day, say whatever, then send a sorry message. Lekin kabhi agar aisa ho jaye, then I do it, because I feel like it's better to get it out and clear the air, so that next day, because then we both are starting back on a positive energy, and most often than not, what the other person says is that actually, you were right, I should not have done this, I did this thing, but completely point taken, and thank you so much for actually writing this, because most of them think that as co-founder you will never apologize, you will just move on, but that I think is not right.
And I think I like how both of you actually you're bringing vulnerability into the whole quotient, which is so key to building emotional intelligence. And both of you have your own way of that. So I think, again, if you're listening to the leaders right now, it looks like vulnerability, acknowledgement, and finding what works for you in managing your emotions is so key for building that at workplace. Staying with the same, I think, again, to both of you is, as you look back at your career, are there things that you have intentionally done over the years to build your own capacity of managing emotions? So would love to hear one or two tips or something that you have done to intentionally build it. Akshay, I see you nodding. So what do you have for us?
For me, I've actually made it a point to learn something new. Well, one is easiest way of learning something new is by reading. But other than reading, learn something totally unrelated to work. You know, I've taken classes in learning sculpture. Last year, I did a course on history on Makers of Modern India. And even now, I've enrolled for a course on foreign policy, India and its foreign policy. So I think the more you expose yourself to different, totally unrelated areas which you have no connection with, suddenly in your mind you see a bulb sometimes go off and say, "Oh, so that could be a connection," or now it makes sense. And I've often given the example in life: you connect the dots looking back, not looking ahead. So even if you learn something now, something totally different, a year, 2, 3 down the line, it may come into play, and then you look back and say, "Oh, that really made sense," and I'm glad I did that.
Yeah, so diverse experiences, look back, and somewhere it all comes together and helps you connect the dots. So I think great piece of advice. Swati, what have you done to build this capacity?
For me, honestly, is what I already said, the morning routine that I have. So that is really everything for me in this sense. I think also what really helps is to spend some time visualizing how you want your day to go. I really think that helps, and be having a set of affirmations, which you can say to yourself first thing when you wake up and last thing before you go to sleep. It could just be gratitude, right? Just affirmations about thanking the universe for XXX things which are right in your life. Because I think when you do that, you attract more of it to yourself. So, some of this I feel I mean, spirituality is a very big word and it means a lot of things. But I think if you can break it down into these, I mean, that's what I've done, broken it down into some of these very simple things which I do every day, which I feel make me happier from inside. And I think if I am, then I will be more at peace. Then work is just like a matter of, I mean, a day, right? There'll be things that will go up and down, but you can't really let it shake your inner core every time.
Yeah, and your thought around spirituality and inner core is actually triggering one question. Which is more on the last year, if you see, more than ever, the pandemic has shown us importance of well-being, and both physical and mental, and it's so important at the workplace. So my question is, how do you see, the role of emotional and social capital play in maintaining well-being at work? Is that something you're actively pursuing at your workplace? But any thoughts around that?
Well, we are, because for us, CK Morning Show is all about this. Because initially when people were at home and I used to talk to them, most of them will be like, I have a very large family, I don't connect with anyone, or I don't have enough people and I am kind of very lonely. And somebody will be like, okay, I'm here with my parents, but they have this issue and I can't really talk to them all the time. So there was a certain sense of loneliness which was coming in, and and I don't like to use other words, to describe that. It's just
Mhm.
that you want some human connect, that's it. And I think providing that human connect is really important. So we even came up with games every week, so we have like team engagement sort of games which are away from the CK Morning Show, where one team actually organizes games for everybody, and then it's a different team every week that does that. So it's just fun stuff which is needed to replace those water cooler conversations, which is needed to replace chalo niche chai sutta wali break. So all of that interaction which people used to have earlier, we are trying to replicate that in other forms that are very, very COVID safe and virtual.
Absolutely. So simple platform for people to share their emotions, thoughts, and just talk. I think, yeah,
Also,
lovely.
to add, we actually work with the Window Project as well. So they provide counseling services. So,
Hmm.
we had a program going where you could go and do a session with them. The company will pay for it, and we won't know at all who even went for the session. So it's that level of confidentiality. So you don't need to think that somebody will judge you that, oh, why did this person go? Do they have a problem? We don't even know who went. We just pay the bill. So that really helped as well.
So safe opportunities and spaces to just talk things out as well. So absolutely. Thanks, Swati. Akshay, again, well-being work. What do you feel that we can do as leaders? Are there things that you are pursuing at the workplace to help this?
I think as leaders, it's very important to make sure that the complete team is looking at well-being. Back in the day, you could just say, listen, I'm only interested in work. I don't care what happens to you emotionally, physically. But I think that time has shown us that just does not work. If a person is physically fit, emotionally in a good place, productivity will be much higher than if either of these are not there. So it's extremely important as leaders. One has to look at 360 degree of the complete team and provide enough opportunities. Like Swati was saying, people are busy. They are, grappling, juggling many things, work, family, kids, whatnot. And at times, your own well-being gets among the last in the list of priorities. And unfortunately, we only have one body. We can't change our body. So if we don't take care of our physical body or even emotional, if we don't take care of our emotion, then how we think, what we do, there is no replacement. So I think it's absolutely imperative. At Wired, what we started is we started a Fun Friday. And we started this quite recently, where every Friday evening they look at one fun activity with the whole team. As recent as last Friday, it was World Emoji Day. So they had a competition around emojis. And like this, there are many, I think this Friday is something planned around Olympics. So every Friday, take a topic and make it fun and involve the families, not just the employee. Involve the whole family, because if the families, it can't also be that I am happy but the family is unhappy, or I'm very unhappy and the family is happy. You've got to look at it holistically.
Fun Fridays. And again, I think thank you so much, Akshay. Simple things like World Emoji Day, like you said, and thank you for sharing that simple things that go a long way. Again, I think to our listeners today, if you've heard both of our leaders speak, it just doesn't take a lot. Simple things, whether it's a CK morning or like Akshay said, it's a fun Friday, but simple things that we can do in the organizations to uplift the emotional and social quotient. Secondly, I think what I repeatedly heard from both of you is it's not a talent, it's a whole person, a human being that's coming to work. So look at the person holistically. And when we do all of that, we are actually building a very social and emotional, intelligent workplace. Again, I think thank you both, Swati and Akshay. Amazing, conversations and so much learnings here for our listeners today. So thank you again for sharing that. Any last, bites that you want to leave our audience here today with on building emotional and social quotient? Maybe one top thing that you feel people can do to build this skill?
I would just say one top thing is to actually think about it. Most people don't think about building this quotient at all. But don't underestimate it and do proactively think and plan. And in your own life, in your own workplace, you'll see what's missing and what's not. But just think of it as an objective to achieve.
Yeah, start with awareness. Thanks,
Yeah.
Swati. Akshay, your one bite.
One bite is, I think, if you want to move up in the corporate ladder, skills will only get you so far. As you move up, your emotional strength and ability to connect with people gets all the more important. So if you are starting up, you have zero EQ, that's fine. But if you want to move up the pyramid inverses, you've
Yeah.
you've got to build on the ability to connect with people and keep yourself stable, even in tough circumstances.
Absolutely. So if you want to grow, keep moving up the pyramid, this is one area to work on. Again, thank you for joining us here today. More of such amazing sessions lined up for you. So don't forget to join them. Again, thanking you, Swati and Akshay, for being with us here today for this session.
Thank you so much. Lovely chatting with you both.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.